All right, we're doing, well, Devin, back to my curious brainland. So here we are. We are doing a ecology packet. We are going to, this is your cover sheet. And so let's walk first and identify all the steps. So you got 6 steps. 6 steps. One is reading and highlighting some notes. One of them is dealing with food webs. The next one deals with relationships in communities like Commensalism, Mutualsim, those things you're going to learn called a symbiotic relationship. But we'll also add in predation, meaning predator-prey relationship, parasitism, and competition. All right, then biomes. We'll tell you which chapter, and we're going to use 2 books in class for that. And then graph interpretation, and then step 6 is your final exam review questions that weren't asked before, and an SOL packet. That's all. It's like 40 questions. That's all released SOL questions taken from the past years. All right. So let's first number our stuff. Okay. So you got your packet. All right. So let's find this right here. These are the notes, the typed notes. Go ahead and label this step 1. All right, let's label that. So step 1 looks like this. So your typed notes, label step 1. All right. Now the thing about step 1 is step 1 helps you. Hey, you got a question? All right, step 1 is going to give you background notes. Now, what does it say that you're going to do? It says you're going to read and highlight this. Do not spend any more than 5 minutes looking through it. It's really just skimming it. All right? It's really just skimming it. All right, so let's talk about that in a second. All right, so with these notes, like you see the basic arrangement.
Mr. Murray, you're not filming.
Yeah, I am. Okay. Hey guys, this is a 35-point assignment, and I want you to spend most of class working on it, not whatever that was. Okay. Now, I appreciate the pointer though. Okay, so look, you got population study. These are all terms. Then you got aquatic ecology. Then terrestrial biomes. Let's make a note. Terrestrial biomes, what you should be doing is, let's label what step you're going to use this for. Okay? So, this you're going to use for step 4. Maybe you say use for step 4. Okay? Now, as I scroll down to the next page, you see all this stuff. It tells you information. It tells you right here the percent of rain, or what we call precipitation. That's going to be key for step 4. Okay? Then, as we scroll down here, interactions amongst organisms. This page right here, used for step 2 and step 3. Now, you're like, what are the steps? We'll label them in a second. Let's keep going through. This packet, the note packet, is really something you're going to keep going back to. Yesterday, we had students say, hey, what's a herbivore? What's an omnivore? We said, check your notes. We're not going to tell you that. We expect you to look and use a resource to find it. All right, here, this is what, page 3 or 4 on your notes? This right here, you're also going to use for step 3. Step 3 is basically gives you some terms to define, and it's a bunch of matching questions. It's probably the shortest step to do. Okay. As we keep going through, you'll notice succession. This part you can use with part of the final exam review packet. It talks about succession. Produce trophic levels, step 2. And again, we'll go back through this. And this is what step 1 is to read through this and see how you can use these notes to help you with other steps. All right, let's do this. Let's finish labeling our packet. All right, so we just said these type notes from here, these type notes, when you get to here, you're at step 2. So let's label this step 2. Write it on your paper now. Well, we found by having students go through and do this in the past, it made it their time go more quickly and more efficiently. So step 2 has a couple pages, all right? Let's label the lesson, and I'll talk a little more about this, and then step 4. All right. So it's probably the shortest step. Step 3, relationships and communities. I actually don't have a digital copy of that up to show on the screen. Step 4. Now, if you want to get to step 4, probably close your packet. Okay, step 3 is this one that says relationships and communities. Anything dealing with food webs, food chains is step 2. Okay, so relationships and communities. All right, now what I'm doing, I'm closing the packet, and now I'm taking the back page, Okay. The back page looks like this. That's step 4. Write that down, step 4. It's probably the one that students lose the most points on is step 4. Okay, let's move down. The other side, that's step 3. I'm sorry, step 5. So the base of the back page is 4 and 5. Any questions? Yes. Step 1 is the type notes. And guys, everything I'm telling you, go back, keep going to your cover page. Last year we had a lot of students who they'd check off every one that they were done. Okay? Now, let's, I need to give you, I'm going to finish this video, but I'm going to talk about step 2 and step 4. All right, so step 2 is this handout right here. And you're basically reading through, you're answering questions. These are food chains that you're going to use to make your own. All right, let's go. So you answer the questions, all right, and let's look at this. How are you doing this? Now, first I need to reduce the size. The food chains, okay? And I don't care if you want to use pen or pencil, or I have colored pencils, but what you're doing is you're going to go to that previous page, and you're going to make as many food chains as you can. Here's your big fat hint. The arrow goes to what eats it. This arrow right here, the plant goes to the rabbit. It means the rabbit eats the plant. The rabbit eats the plant. The fox eats the rabbit. Every single one of these should go to here. So, like, for example, I can do the mouse. And then I can do the mouse again. All right? Now, let's look at this. The mouse, just within the mouse, look how many chains we have. If we follow, all right, so if we follow the mouse going, that's a first level consumer or primary consumer. All right, if I go to here and that makes the fox a second level consumer or a what we call a secondary. But mice will sometimes eat insects, so watch this. That makes the insect the first level, and this same mouse that ate the plant is now a second level consumer, making this fox, which ate the mouse, a third level. So you got one pathway, first level, second level, first, second, third. These haven't changed in their position. They just depend on what they eat. Okay? So do a different color for each one if you want. But everything's got to start from here. There's a mistake I saw yesterday. Let me go to green again. There's a mistake. We saw a student do this. They thought it was cool to make a triangle. That doesn't exist. What you're saying is a cricket eats a robin and the earthworm eats the robin. It doesn't work that way. All right? So don't do it like that. Everything needs to have a source. We start with the plants. Okay? Any questions on that? All right. Now let's get to step 4. Step 4 is going to require two things. You're going to use you're going to have 7 biomes. All right, we need 7 biomes. So, all right, we're back. Now, first, your handout has 7 slots. How many do you see on this page? More than 7. Your directions. We're going to skip mountains and polar. That way you will fit these 7 in here. So we're not going to do polar and we're not going to do mountains. Now what we need next is this picture over on this page, which I have loaded. Okay, let's do this. All right, well, that's... Right, one of the things that you're going to see on this is these are guidelines, but for put a star next to temperature and rainfall. I want numbers. Do not say hot, cold, or a lot of rain. No, we're not going to do it like that. So how do you interpret this? This is called a climatogram. Obviously, I don't want you writing on your book, but when you read left to right to tell temperature, you read top to bottom to tell the precipitation. So let's do this really quickly. Grasslands. What is the range for grasslands? Temperate grassland. Obviously, I'm not going to let you write in a book. I'm going to just draw a little line there. From here to here, what's the temperature range? Okay, that's minus 10. What? -5 to probably about 15. All right, now that looks like a minus, so a lot of students did it like this. Okay, that's fine. So -5 to 15 degrees Celsius, of course. All right, now that's how you will read this across. To do precipitation, which is the rainfall, you're going to read top to bottom. Let's do tropical rainforest. I know I missed the tip, but so what's the precipitation range for tropical rainforest? 100 to about 450, and again, if that throws you, you can write it like this. Write the word. Right? Especially seeing that that's all messed up, anyways. All right, and that's in centimeters of water. This is written right here. All right, the temperature's here. All right, last thing I want to mention, terrestrial biomes are what 1 through 7 are. Aquatic, all right, there's 3 that you're looking for. Marine, freshwater, and estuaries. The very first one talks about freshwater, and it gives you 3 zones. The mistake students make is they list those 3 zones there. All right. So, let me close this. Go back to the camera, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So, freshwater. Don't list these 3 things. That's one of them. Wetlands, and then on the next page is your marine. Okay. Last thing I need to point out is I said you might want to use the Polar Bear book, which is our book, but there's one other part that we expect you to be able to do. Animal life and plant life. So, take this. All right, in the Dragonfly book, which is, that's this one right here, okay, you're going to see they give you written descriptions, and they talk about wildlife, and they talk about distribution. Wildlife distribution. That's one source. The other source would be your typed notes. It talks about it there as well. So what the whole idea of this is, we're going to have a lot of resources that you're going to use to answer a bunch of information about ecology in a short amount of time. Last step is the final exam review packet. And that is part 6, and this is actually what it will look like. It's a bunch of old SOL questions, all right? And I think I pretty much covered any questions before we start working. Manage your time. I want to point out this right here. This is step 2. On the back is a standard pyramid. We did this earlier when we did photosynthesis, but it actually asks you to come up with some of your own food webs here on this page. I recommend you use This. It says use some food webs not in the list from the packet. So use this. This is a really good food web for a marine one. What you're doing here is a terrestrial-based one based on these examples. All right? That's pretty much it. I know this went a little bit longer than I expected, but it's pretty thorough, and if you have to watch it again at home to figure it out, hopefully no one will because we're doing it today in class. All right.